Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Smiling. No, I gotta do a quick intro for the live. I do need to for the. I'm gonna do it for the live, so you can then do your part.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Smiling Homeschooler podcast. We're glad you can join us. As you see, we're going to have a special guest here. But before we begin, we just want to say thank you to Teaching Textbooks, as always, for making the Smiling Homeschooler possible. They're an amazing math curriculum, and we really appreciate their support. You can check them out over at teachingtextbooks.com. We also want to say thank you to Samaritan Ministries. They are a community of Christians that pay one another's medical bills, helping families take a safe step of faith as they feel God's leading in career or in ministry changes or in bringing mom home. You can learn more at samaritanministries.org/familyman. But all right, go ahead, Dad.
Okay, so for those who are listening right now, this is halfway through the show. So here we go. Well, hey, Ben, we were talking about, the different things that we might want to add to our homeschool this year. I know there are a lot of families listening, a lot of moms listening, who have those kids who are art kids. And sometimes, they don't just, maybe they're not big math kids. Maybe they are, but they also have that kind of bent where they like to draw all the time. And I know there are moms out there who are like, what could I have them draw? How do I fit that into the homeschooling? I maybe about a year ago, maybe a little longer than that. I was at a homeschool convention and I came across the animation course, and I didn't know anything about the animation course. I saw that the guy who was running it was Chad Stewart, and I heard that he was a Disney animator, and I was excited. So I am super excited to have Chad Stewart on the show. So thanks for joining us, Chad.
Well, thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
Well, I know we had you on the show a while back, and so I don't want to cover everything. Even more impressive than you were an animator in the past and worked for Disney and for some other things, you are also dad and a homeschooler. You have 8 children, 4 daughters, 4 sons. You have your wife, Kayla. And so you get homeschooling.
Yes.
And so I guess somewhere along the way, you decided maybe I could offer what I do best to homeschoolers. How'd that come about?
So it was 10 years ago, and I had left the studios to try freelancing so I could be home more, so we could be more involved with the kids in their teenage years. And we had used a lot of online courses in our homeschool journey and seen the growth of that. And so it was actually my wife, Kayla's idea that we could maybe create a small course for students, middle school and high school students, to teach them animation, because we get asked all the time about animation, students that are interested and want to know a little bit more about it. So Kayla put it out on her Facebook page, and within 2 weeks we had about 40 students. Within about 6 months we had a little over 200 students, and we've been doing it ever since, and really trying to market it to the homeschool community. And we've created drawing classes and technology classes and a little sort of animate in a box class for a younger audience as well. So that's kind of brings us to the present.
Well, I know that's what moms are going to want to know. They're going to want to know, what can my kid do? And again, you gave some age ranges on your website from like 11 to 18, that age range.
Mm-hmm.
And you offer a couple different things. You offer like online animation courses. You have like 4+ levels, and then you have drawing classes. Maybe you could talk about both sides of that.
Okay. So animation, the goal behind the animation courses is to give the creative student who they maybe make their own films, or they play with animation software, to give them enough information about the whole process so that they can make their own short films. And that might be with stop motion Legos, or it might be with hand-drawn animation apps, or even CG. But it's really more about storytelling and filmmaking. And then the drawing courses came about as sort of a supplement to that. And we realized that there were some students coming to us who just wanted to learn to draw. And so we have drawing courses that are about basic principles like perspective. We have a drawing course for just drawing characters. And then we're getting into digital illustration and an age-appropriate human drawing course, so that they can learn about drawing hands and heads and clothing, and how to draw the human figure.
Well, I think something that's really cool about this, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but this seems something like that really only homeschooling could do something like this. I mean, obviously they have art classes and they have stuff like that in a normal school, but I've never really talked to anyone that's gotten this level of instruction or being able to dive this deep in anything. Is that something you think is really unique to homeschooling? A lot, that kids can do this kind of thing. I mean, I guess you guys homeschooled, right? So I mean, that's obviously a cool aspect that your child can really delve into this. I guess also maybe kind of then branching off that, what's the time commitment for something like this for a kid?
Yeah, so it certainly has been the primary source of our market. I mean, there was a bit of an exception during COVID
Yeah.
when the whole world became homeschoolers. But certainly since then, we've kind of come back to really most of our students are homeschool students, and you can learn so much through this whole process. You can write stories. Technology comes into play
Yeah.
depending on the software you're using. So it really does lend itself to a homeschooler really well. We have 3 12-week sessions every year at spring, summer, and fall. And each of the levels that we offer is taught during one of those 12-week sessions. And so it's 1 hour of live interaction with me, instruction with me. And we also offer the recordings if someone can't make it for their schedule. But then they're getting about 2 to 4 hours of assignment time that they're doing work on their own. And when they turn in that assignment, then they're going to get feedback from a professional artist or animator that it's either going to be me or someone I personally know and works with us. And so they get feedback and they get the opportunity to continue to work on their assignments. So all of our projects have multiple turn-ins so that they can improve and they can get used to that idea of being critiqued in a constructive way and learn from it. So then we work our way through the different levels, and then we have an advanced class that is more for the serious, usually high schooler who's decided they want to pursue this as a career and go to college. And so I work with them on something like a college portfolio, or I work with them on their own films. We've had many of those students submit films to different festivals. We also have some students that will work collaboratively, and I just went down and we had a collaborative film shown at the Man Chinese Theater in one of the festivals
cool.
down there. So it's really fun to see them succeed and be able to do something, right now.
Well, and you've been doing this long enough now that obviously 10 years. So some of those, younger kids are definitely have careers and even families probably at this point. But as the age range you mentioned was kind of, around that 11-ish age, for a mom who maybe has younger kids right now, but, they have some interest in, just drawing and stuff like that. What would you say just as a general rule of thumb to encourage your children in being artistic? Because I know a lot of people as they grow bigger, they just fall away because of discouragement or, someone said, oh, that wasn't very good, something like that. Obviously you don't need to push your child at the age of 3 to just like,
why Ben is
that's true.
Animator
Dad
right
just
now,
ridiculed me.
Told him he couldn't draw.
No, but you don't need to be like, doing, here's how to do perspective at the age of 3. But, are there things that you feel like just let them have fun with it? Any kind of encouragement you would suggest for those younger kids?
A lot of times what we see, and this was my journey, I didn't have formal art training until my senior year in high school. I just like to draw characters and cartoons and comics. And so if that's what they're interested in, just let them keep doing that. And if they're really interested in animation, they can do flip books with just paper and pencil. That I mentioned before, we have that sort of Animate in a Box, which is all about, it's just video lessons, and all the lessons can be achieved with just pencil and paper. So just buying a big stack of computer paper and pencils and just letting them draw. Usually what I try to do in our critiques is start off on the positive and say, there's something about this I like, and let them know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe say, hey, what can even make this cooler is if you work on the structure, or you work on, making this consistent, or something that they can sort of grasp in their in the stage of life that they're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe talk just a few minutes about the flip book, because the flip book is kind of like what I think of, where you draw a bouncing ball and you flip it through the pages, kind of, and you see it animate itself, right? What ages is that for?
So we say it's kind of the 8 to 11 age, but it's really for anybody who's interested. We've had older students, and there are some younger students who, if their parents are going to sit down with them, they could go through this, and it's just video lessons that they can watch of me giving the lesson, kind of doing it, but also I've done some animation. We've had some students do animation. So it's kind of entertainment too. And then all of the lessons are just, we provide all the sketchbooks and all the supplies they'll need in that box so that they can do all these.
And that's the cool thing, because it does come all self-contained, and they open it up and have it, and they can begin, right?
Yeah. And that's what I thought. Like I used to love as a kid to go out and get those paint by number posters with the markers and everything, and just open it up and rip off the plastic and start.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to create, something the small version of me would have really been excited about.
So like if a mom has an 11-year-old, real quick, if she has like a younger, who would be able to do one of your actual courses, I mean, can any kid that's interested do it, or do they have to have a certain level of, ability, and, or can they just jump right in and you'll take it from there kind of deal?
Yeah. I mean, they can really jump right in. We have students with zero ability or experience, and there's lots of different ways to learn. All of our graders have been exactly where these kids are, and they remember it, and they want to just encourage them to play around and explore with this. So my wife Kayla is on the phone all the time with moms, helping them, kind of working through that. Should they start in a drawing class? Should they start in animation? And she usually says, if animation is what brought you to us, then start with level 1 animation, and we can work from there.
I was just watching the Bluey episode. Dad, Chad, have you watched? Literally just before the kids went to bed, we were watching the one where they all are drawing through the whole story. I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but it's where they're, Bandit was not encouraged as a kid, so he has terrible drawings, and then the mom and stuff talks about how her mom always encouraged her, but then they're hand drawing like all these little crayon, pictures and stuff through the whole episode. It's a super fun episode, but it reminds me of this. But anyways, go ahead, Dad, wrap us up.
And Ben is a big fan, so
I'm a huge Bluey fan.
And talk about Bluey.
It's good stuff. True mastery.
But I guess the nut and bolts. You said there's a fall session coming up. When does that begin? When would they need to sign up for that?
So they can sign up right now if they want to.
Okay.
But they can sign up with a $50 registration fee to hold their spot. But the first day of the session is the kind of middle to late middle of September, September 22nd, I think. It's the Monday of that week. And so there's but we even have sometimes students that will sign up for classes even a week or two late. We try to make it work for everybody, but it's best, I think, if they can sign up at least a couple of weeks before.
So really, they need to, by the end of August, they should be signed up.
That would be great.
Okay, that's what we're telling you now, Mom.
We're going on.
Okay.
Yeah, and these moms are on top of it. They're probably already signing up right now.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe tell them the website. I don't know if you said that.
Much. We should probably say that.
So yes, our website is www.theanimcourse.com. So anim is ANIM, like short for animation. But you can also just search the animation course, and usually that'll bring up our site.
You do
Awesome.
sound like an old guy when you go www dot.
Yeah, right.
We figured this out already, so we're
Right.
But I'll tell you, from a dad who had an animating son who now is an animator as well, this would have been something that we would have been super excited about.
Cool.
Because the thing I'm excited about, and then we'll let you go here, the thing I'm excited about is that I know a lot of moms think that sometimes this is extra school. This is not extra school. This is school. The beauty of homeschooling is that you get to take your child's strengths, and some are going to take this course, and it may not be their strength, but you're going to take your child's strength, and you're going to use it to teach them what they're going to learn, later down the line. And, a lot of people will start different paths and end up in different places, but what a great place to start. So, Chad, thanks for doing what you do, and I hope lots of moms take advantage of what you have to offer.
Well, thank you again for having me. It's my pleasure. It's so much fun to see all of these young students and all their creativity. So
I'm sure. Awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate it. And
okay, that was it. Now we're going to go back and do the first part of this show. And this will be out on
tomorrow,
if you care to watch it, tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
yep.
Cool. Great.
Well, we appreciate you.
Well, hey, thanks for allowing us to let people know about you.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can say you're welcome to that, but I feel compelled to say thank
I
you.
wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was a good tool. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not into, just promoting everybody. So
before I had you on the show, my daughter was like, "Oh, who are you having?" I said, "Oh, a guy who used to be an animator. He's we've had him on before." She's like, "Is he the one who did Emperor's New Groove?" And I was like, "Yep," because she listens to our Disney podcast all the time.
Oh yeah,
and you're on one of the episodes. So,
she's a big fan. She's a big fan.
Great. Well, it's my goal. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it, but I want to do one more hand-drawn animated film before my career is done. And I'm still, there's some out there that are sort of floating around. I just keep thinking it'll hit sooner or later.
Yeah,
so.
You would think there'd be this like push, because like 90s, it's 2000 or 80s, like that's the nostalgia's coming back around. You could do some big push for that. Aaron Blaze is still out there. He's got a big following. He's
got a short coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely people putting some effort, but that'd be cool. I don't know. I feel like they kind of talk, they'll do like a little, like they did that Mickey Mouse short where they'll talk about how it's going to be, but it's always just so short that, it's not really the same thing. But I mean, not quite to the prestige. So, all right. Well, we appreciate it.
Right.
All right. I'm going to go ahead.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Dad, you ready to go ahead and continue?
Okay, now we'll start at the beginning. We'll talk just for a little bit, and then we'll do the commercial, and that'll be the end.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Everyone who's watching this live, you get the whole behind the scenes show. So let me get this right here. All right.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you were watching.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So we're doing the intro. Dad, let's go ahead and get started.
Well, hey, everybody. I told Ben, because I'm still feeling summer. I don't really want to talk about school, but I know some of you moms are already thinking about school. And so I suggested maybe we could talk about, just dipping your toes in the rivers of Mandalore. And just maybe as we just start thinking a little bit
understand that
about, I mean, you're a normal person.
Yeah.
But just maybe talk about some of those things that we often think of as extracurricular activities. I don't want to think of them as extracurricular because I know moms usually about this time are their gut is starting to speak to them. And, you're sometimes frustrated, maybe if you've done school in the, maybe last year was your first year, maybe you've done it for a while, and you're starting to have these thoughts like this, and they sound like this. I really think my son would like to do something that has to deal with construction. Or maybe my daughter, she likes to cook. I wish I had a cooking course, and I know, Ben, you did some things along the way, and all the kids did, of things that would not have been traditional school, like maybe a Dave Ramsey course in finances. I know that, that are just, I think that's the beauty of homeschooling. And wouldn't you agree, Ben, that homeschooling should be more than just regular school.
Yeah. I mean, because the whole point, for the most part, is to create a functioning adult for when, they're grown up and have their own family. So, if that's the point and the real goal and all this learning and all this stuff they're doing is to get to that point, then I think some of those extra things can be really jumpstart and just be a huge, launch pad for them in the future. I mean, I've talked about this before. It's been a while though, actually, maybe, I don't know. But, I work at an IT company, like we do business computers and networking and stuff like that now. And before that, I worked at a marketing company. But before that, I worked in computer repair for Staples, like kind of their Geek Squad kind of deal. But all that began when Mom, we were at an old, thrift store, surplus store where they fix computers up and ancient stuff, and asked the guy if we could help out. And he said yes. So we went, maybe every other week or something like that for a few months. And that's kind of what gave us some of the bones to get started on, being able to put computers together. I really genuinely think that wasn't like necessarily the reason I was interested in it at all. I already liked, technology to some extent, but was kind of something that really gave me an extra step that I wouldn't have otherwise had. So some of those things can be really valuable.
It kind of gave you a not what's the opposite of fear? Bravery. It made you not fearful to
give confidence.
Get into a computer. I mean, you and Sam both did that, and you both could take them apart and pop off the backs. I mean, we were talking to your brother who's 19, who's never really had a computer, and he's like, what is this language you talk about, like filing things?
Yeah, I was like, well, that's where the file path is. He's like, I don't know what any of that means. And I'm like, okay, oh boy. It's just wild.
But that's not his thing. That's not his thing. And I, like, in just a little bit, we're going to talk about to an animator. Sam, we let him draw and do things. So he always had a notepad, and he was going through books, where they would just, learn how to draw whatever the drawing was, or he did some animation, not courses. They were just the software where he did the tutorials with them and learned to do this. And that was part of school. And there are a lot of other things too.
Yeah. I think obviously, like, if your child is trying to pursue a passion, that's such a valuable, cool thing. I mean, the spark is being lit, try to fan it, try to blow it. That's like what we're all going for, is to have kids that are interested in something. I do think there is, you do have, just because a kid's interested or consumed or desiring to spend more time with something doesn't necessarily mean it's always fan it no matter what. I mean, we've talked about it before. Every kid, if they could, would play Fortnite for endless amount of hours, whatever that may be. I think
host a YouTube channel.
Yeah, which again, those can be legit things, but like putting work into it, I think is one thing. If it's just where they're just, if I just watch movies all day, that's not the same as like, I'm really interested in film, I'm going to do an animation course, or I'm going to learn how to shoot with cameras or something like that. So I think there is like a way that if they're interested in something, you can channel that into something outside of just consuming something all the time, which obviously reading is consuming, but you're learning there. So I don't think that's really the same thing. But also one thing I was going to say is keeping in mind that, I think it's really easy. Everyone does it when, just be careful during the quiet time, or not necessarily quiet, because if you have kids, it's never quiet, but during the summer when you're not doing school and you're not in the thick of it, it's easy to think of all these cool things you're going to do as extracurricular stuff for your kids. But it can be easy to over expectations, be like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and I'm going to sign them up for this. But then when you actually get into the year, it's just too much and it starts just piling up. And that's the same for curriculum, everything. Just, the quiet times can be easy to overthink and over create options for yourself, I think, before you actually get started.
Well, that's how, like, all things, like I would do games that I was going to do with a bunch of kids, and it all sounded so easy until you had to explain it to the kids, and then it all fell apart.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that as it gets closer. But I think it's important to not add to your already full schedule, but to replace sometimes. To say, hey, if my son or daughter is good at this, we're going to do this. We may not be able to do this other thing. Because you can't do it all. or maybe even to kind of go down some of these paths and find out that they're dead ends. If they show some interest in playing an instrument, maybe they start playing an instrument, but after a while you think they don't like it, I don't like it, we're always yelling at them to practice, so we're not going to do that anymore. That's not failure. That's just kind of, exploration.
Yeah. Because a lot of those things aren't going to just naturally happen if you don't,
Right.
it is tough. Like, I mean, I wouldn't really have ever come across any instruments in my house, of like, I'm just going to randomly pick up the tuba and start playing it. You kind of have to, there has to be something that sparks that, or someone, or just the ability to explore. So I totally agree with that.
But I do think because I'll have parents who will come up to me and say, hey, I heard you have a son who's an animator. I think it'd be neat if my son was an animator. I'm like, do they like to draw? And they go, I don't know. I'm like, then they're probably not going to be. But, if your kids do show an interest in something, I guess I would want to use that to count as school. If my kid likes bugs, I want to find something that they could watch and learn about bugs. And count it as school. Sometimes through those bugs, you learn about other things. You learn about other things you might like, or you learn, facts and not math, bug math, but, it leads you down another path. But hey, we should take a little commercial break here. And Ben, let me just say, we're thankful for Samaritan Ministries. And when it comes to life and important decisions, we like options. And Samaritan Ministries realized that and recently launched an additional sharing option called Redeem Health Share. You're going to hear us talk a lot about it. As Samaritan Ministries, they understand that each family is unique. That's why they offer this new program and features in Redeem that are designed to provide access to comprehensive, affordable care tailored to you and your family, all on a digital platform, which is new. Here are some of the things they offer: flexible programs to fit your budget, freedom to choose any provider anywhere, an add-on feature that allows for sharing things like dental, vision, and preventative care. So if you've been waiting to join Samaritan Ministries, this just might be the option from them you've been looking for. You can learn more at redeemhealthshare.org.
All right. And we also want to say thank you to Teaching Textbooks. They're an amazing partner and an amazing math curriculum. As you are, starting to think about next year or this coming school year, if you haven't checked them out before, you should over at teachingtextbooks.com. They have a free trial, and they're just an amazing company. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to them. They'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Also, if there's a few homeschooling events still throughout the year, they're at everything. So you can always check them out in person as well. But really appreciate their support, and they are an amazing company. So go check them out. All right.
That's the end of the show.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We'll be back, I think, next week. So don't forget to smile, and we'll see you next week.